What's up guys, James here from BootWizard Boot Reviews, and today we're going to be looking at the very curious case of the New Balance Furon V6 Destroy. Now the V6 Pro, which is this boot here, is the top end elite version of the New Balance Furon. There, as with other brands, with New Balance, they have a tiered takedown system, and their first takedown model is called the V6 Destroy. Now, usually for a takedown model you expect to get less for the boot. You get less features, less technical innovation, and therefore you pay a lower price. But the boot looks very, very similar, especially in those first takedown models. What I want to do today is I want to take a look at a takedown model that offers almost exactly the experience that you're going to get from the Pro level model and work out, is it really worth spending the extra money on the Pro when you can pick up this frankly amazing V6 Destroy. So remember to like the video if you're not already, hit the subscribe button, and remember we are now on Patreon where you can pledge, patreon.com/BootWizard. So the upper on this Furon V6 Destroy is the fit weave upper. So it's a fully knitted upper, it's a one piece with a central lacing system, and you get this coating that runs around most of the lower part of the boot, and that provides you with a little bit of extra grip and texture, and mainly it protects that fit weave upper. Now if we take this and we compare it to what you're going to get on the V6 Pro, it's the same. I have spent about an hour picking apart these two boots in terms of the upper to work out what the difference is between them, if there's a difference, and honestly, I can't see one. I 100% believe that the upper on the V6 Pro, this very premium fit weave upper with the texturing, with that plastic coating that's been put on the bottom of it, is exactly the same upper as you get on the V6 Destroy. It feels the same, it looks the same, the elements are the same. You're basically able to get a top end boot upper at a takedown price, and that's amazing. So because these are the same in terms of their construction and how they fit, the feel, everything down to even the inner liner is the same, that means that they perform in the same way in terms of their touch and feel on the ball. So exactly what I said about the V6 Pro applies to the V6 Destroy. It's a very comfortable, incredibly soft upper that is very soft straight out of the box and requires basically no break-in time. The two different colors you can see actually lead to a texturing that runs around the boot, and I think it does a fantastic job. It really gives you a little bit extra on the ball, although not that much. The New Balance Furon is also New Balance's speed boot line. So generally with a speed boot you expect to get a barefoot sensation on the ball, and that isn't necessarily what you're going to get from the Furon. It's not a super thin knit by any means, and the liner, the outer, it all adds to a slightly more padded sensation on the ball than you maybe would expect from a speed boot. It's definitely more padded than what you'd have got from the Furon V5. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's all really a matter of preference. Another small issue I do have with the V6, generally the Pro and the Destroy, is that it could be a more responsive boot, and that's because this upper is super soft, it is a bit padded, it just doesn't feel like the most aggressive, responsive boot that it could possibly be. And then in terms of lockdown, I don't really have any complaints, but I do really recommend putting a runner's loop into the top of the boot because it will keep your heel more secure, and overall your lockdown just feels better. So responsiveness is okay, if not the best. Lockdown, no complaints. So from an upper perspective, for touch, feel, softness, general quality, which one of these two boots should you buy? Well, the answer is quite simply, you get more, or you get the same for less money with the V6 Destroy. So that's a no-brainer. But that's not everything to a boot is the upper. There are some differences between those, and we'll jump into them now. So looks wise, this is one of those rare occasions where you can pick up a pair of boots and discover that you can rock them on field without anybody knowing that you're wearing a takedown. Like, honestly, these you can only tell by looking at the sole plate and the heel. So looks wise, I like the look of the Pro, I like the look of the Destroy. I think this is a good looking boot. I think New Balance have done a great job here. That kind of Nike-esque New Balance running around the front. It's all good news. I have no complaints about this whatsoever, and I'd be very interested to see some brand new colorways too. So in the traction on these boots, this is where you get the biggest difference between them, and quite simply it's because it is totally different. On the brand new V6 Pro, you get this brand new sole plate, which has all of these triangular studs in a very Adidas X speed frame kind of way. It's incredibly snappy, it's much lighter, it's way more aggressive than we got from the Furon V5, and this is a fantastic improvement from New Balance. On the V6 Destroy, you get an exact carryover of what you got on the top end Furon V5, and that is no bad thing to get another top end sole plate on your takedown model. Now, admittedly, the V5 sole plate is one that I did have a couple of issues with. I don't think that the studs are long enough to get good traction in the ground, and I definitely think that the sole plate itself could have done with a little bit of refining. It feels a little consistently stiff across the whole boot, and it doesn't have that spring back energy return type feeling that you get from that new V6 Pro. So is it as good? Absolutely not. But when we're considering the Destroy, you definitely get a top end upper with a slightly older top end sole plate. So when you start putting these things together, that's still a fantastic package that you're looking at. Now, admittedly, I don't like this sole plate that much. I think it needs refining. But you might feel differently. If you prefer this layout, this boot could absolutely be one for you. Okay, wait, we're going to get all of the models on the scales, starting with the old Furon V5. So remember, that's got the same sole plate as this new V6 Destroy, and that's coming in at 212 grams. It's not too bad at all. And then we're going to throw on the brand new V6 Pro. So this is the updated version with that new sole plate. Now this is a very impressive weight. This is 178 grams. These are all the same size. So that is really impressive for that boot. And then we're going to throw on the new V6 Destroy, the takedown, and that's coming in at 233. So it's easily the heaviest of the bunch. A lot of that comes from having this old sole plate on what is a heavier upper. Most of the weight saving on the V6 Pro comes from this brand new brand new sole plate construction. So it is a bit on the heavy side, especially for a speed boot, but 230 grams isn't that heavy. You can definitely feel it in hand, but 130 euros, I don't think it's that bad, but it's not going to compete with something like a Vapor 13 Pro. Value for money. This is where this boot really starts to shine. This comes in at 135 euros, and the V6 Pro comes in at 220 euros. Just think about that for a minute. You are going to get the exact same upper as a 220 euro boot for 135 euros. And even when we consider the sole plate on the 220 euro, admittedly, I think is a lot better. But you're still going to get a sole plate on this that was previously on a 220 euro Furon V5. So the package as a whole is actually fantastic value for money. If you like the touch and feel of this upper, this could be a better option for you than something like a Nike Mercurial Vapor 13 Pro. And I think to say that is a huge, huge deal. Value for money, this is well worth considering if you're on a budget. So size-wise, the V6 Destroy does run basically true to size, although if you're in between, you can probably get away with going down half a size. Width-wise here, you have plenty of width, especially for a boot that's designed like this, that is a speed boot. If you do have wider feet, this is probably going to be okay for you. If you have very wide feet, it might not be for you, simply because it is a one-piece upper and there's not a huge amount of give or stretch in it. The fit in the heel is a bit different because of those two different sole plates. The V6 just attaching slightly differently to that old V5 sole plate, and it does mean that I think the comfort in the V6 is a little more because it is a little softer, but in terms of lockdown, they both offer a very similar sensation. The padding on the inside basically does the same job, and I do recommend, as I did with my V6 Pro, I recommend putting in a runner's loop to the top of the Destroy as well as the Pro to keep your heel locked into the back. I think it helps the fit and feel overall no end. And finally, on feet, one of the only major problems I have with the V6 Pro and Destroy is the way that the material forms around your foot. It doesn't hug closely enough to the foot for my liking, especially in the mid-foot area, in the instep. There seems to be extra material that just creases up, and it just isn't well conformed, and you can feel it a little bit across the top of the boot as well. There's just a little bit of extra material where the boot needed to be slimmed down, lower volume, and just conform to your foot a little bit better. Now, this is for me the biggest problem with both of these boots, and something that I would definitely say you have to be wary of when buying these, but it is still down to personal preference and how you want your boots to fit and feel. So while if you put these two boots head to head and ask me to pick one, I would absolutely pick the V6 Pro. The sole plate makes it a distinctly better boot, and that weight reduction is huge. But have New Balance shot themselves in the foot a little bit by putting out a boot that just replicates exactly how their V6 Pro feels with that fit weave upper? Or is it a masterstroke and they're really going to start to get in to a market that they've been missing, which is that cheaper takedown model boot? This is really high quality and you should definitely consider it. If you do want to check out that full review of the V6 Pro, then do click here. If you're not already, get subscribed by clicking here. Hit the like button, and do remember we are now on Patreon at patreon.com/BootWizard. Please pledge if you can. But that's all from BootWizard here today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a good one.